There's no such thing as a sure thing in the world of business. That's why it's so important to be prepared for the worst case scenario, especially in an economic downturn, so that you can keep yourself afloat even when times are tough. Now, here I'm going to discuss 5 steps to help you prepare for a downturn in the economy. The first thing is evaluate your operating expenses and cut unnecessary costs. To avoid being impacted by the economy and to prepare for future recovery, it's important to evaluate your operating expenses and cut unnecessary costs. Identify areas where you can reduce your spending without affecting customer service or the quality of your products and services. Start analysing the most important things you need to do in order to keep your business running. You might already cut back on some things, but there may be others that need your attention. Look at all your expenses, even if they are small or insignificant. If you can find ways to reduce costs, then do so immediately, especially if you can reduce them by 10, 20%, or even more. Look at overhead costs such as rent, supplies, and utilities. If you can come back on these expenses now, it will give you more flexibility to ride out any downturns. Look at any discretionary expenses such as entertainment or travel that can be eliminated temporarily until business picks back up. It's also a good idea to review contracts and vendors and suppliers, especially when the economy appears to be slowing down. Make sure you have options in case they try to cancel or change their terms to try to raise prices. 2, evaluate your personal expenses. If you're living paycheck by paycheck, then an economic downturn could mean that you'll have to make cuts to your personal budget as well as your business one. If you set aside money for emergency and unexpected expenses, then you won't have to worry about cutting back on things like food or clothing for yourself and your family. If you're not sure what your personal expenses are, it may be time to take a hard look at how much money comes out of your pocket every month. This will help you determine what changes need to be made to your personal budget if demand goes down. Create a detailed expenses report. You'll want to know exactly where all your costs go so that when times do get tough, you can make adjustments quickly and easily without sacrificing too much and putting additional pressure on yourself and your family. Devising an action plan ahead of time helps you respond quickly to changing circumstances rather than wasting time trying to decide on priorities. Things to think about. Do you need all your subscription services? Can you cut down on travel expenses, fuel? Do you need 2 cars? If you have a credit card, can you transfer to another to make use of interest-free periods? Can you freeze your credit card spend? There's a number of things on this and you need to get creative. 3, pulse differently. Shift your planning frequency. Plan your resources carefully and make sure that they are allocated properly and getting the right things done. You need to be prepared for any eventuality and make sure that everything runs smoothly, even under pressure. Shift your planning from a long-term perspective to a shorter-term one. The ground shifts quickly in the recession, and projects and plans that take a long time to complete are often the great cause of waste. Instead, try planning things out in 3 to 6 month spurts. So if there is any change in course due to an economic slowdown or other factors, you'll be agile enough to react accordingly. Look at your business model and see how flexible it is. Do you have the ability to change direction quickly? Also, make sure your employees know what the company's priorities are during these difficult times so they can adjust their work accordingly without too much disruption or confusion. The key is to be prepared, and that will allow you to react when times get tough. Next one, check your mindset. Economic recessions can be devastating to small businesses, but they can also be the best opportunity for growth and expansion. You are not a victim of the downturn. There will be opportunities, but you need to see them, think about them, and act on them. Keep your cash reserves high, or as high as possible, so you can take advantage of them quickly. Be aware that fear and uncertainty can prevent you from taking advantage of these opportunities, but it's important to keep moving forward in spite of obstacles. In such circumstances, it is imperative to keep your mindset sharp. Be ready to change your product or business direction when necessary. Be prepared to pivot in a new direction. Make sure you have plan A, B, C, D, and E, and then act on those when needed. Next, align your offers to the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow's theory is that people are motivated to satisfy their basic physiological needs, food, safety, as in shelter, before moving on to higher order needs like belongingness, love, esteem, and self-actualization. If a person does have his or her lower order needs met, they cannot move up to the higher order needs. When times are good, we tend to focus on what people want. But when money gets tight and priorities change, we need to think about what people really need. Think about how you can reposition your offers so they address basic needs first. If not that level, then move on to their social needs, love and belonging. You want them that want to think about how you can help people feel loved or valued in some way. This might include giving them an access to a community of like-minded individuals who share similar values and interests. That's something I did in the COVID back in 2020. You can't change the fact the economy is in bad shape, but you can prepare for your business to weather the storm by repositioning your offers to hit the lower parts of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So they're just some thoughts around what you can do in preparing yourself for a downturn in the economy. Thanks for listening. And if you need support, then please do get in touch.